Good morning, folks. It's Monday the 6th of April. Yep, still in Ezhou, downtown Ezhou, beautiful Ezhou. Hubei province, China. And yeah, the Australian government done it again. Ordered 30 million masks from China, got 10 million delivered, 30 million delivered. They're dealing out 10 million of them to the health workers, etc. Yet they're confiscating all the masks we're sending to Australia. They're seizing them, I should say. In other words, they're filling their stockpiles with masks that have been sent privately. Yeah, that's pretty well the lowdown. So, meanwhile, they're telling everyone that the Chinese masks are no good and they're below quality, but they secretly came over here and got 30 million of them. So, yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it for a while and think about that. So the few $100s I spent in postage and buying masks to send home to my family and friends that got seized by the government to fill their own stockpiles, to redistribute out and pretend that they've done the right thing. What a fucking waste of money that was. The government, you guys are absolutely fucked and you should be a fucking shame to yourselves. Meanwhile, here's my beautiful neighbour. Oh, I love my neighbour. She's so cool. And this lady here, she supplies the whole city with drinks. And she came in very handy during the lockdown. And here's some other friends. And this guy's got the best looking dog in China, and look at his lovely girlfriend. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, so I had a bit of luck today. I was just walking out of the building and just past the hospital, and as I was walking along I noticed all the hospital staff, or some of the hospital staff, were all out the front taking photos and flowers and whatnot, celebrating, you know, the coming out at the other end of this coronavirus thing. And yeah, it was interesting. So I took a few quick snapshots to show the world how happy the hospital are, and thought I'd share it. You need to remember this hospital was in the epicenter of where this virus started, and they definitely had their work cut out for them for a fair few months, and they're still being very vigilant now, and they're still working hard. There's still patients in there that do have it. However, they're being treated, and we haven't had any deaths for a fair while now, which is great news. So to see them out, you know, with a few celebration shots is really good news for me. So one of Brendan Murphy's theories about why face masks are inappropriate and dangerous in Australia is the simple fact that he doesn't think Australians know how to wear them properly and put them on and take them off efficiently and properly. I mean, you don't have to be a fucking scientist to work out how to put a fucking face mask on, for God's sake. And if that's one of his excuses, it's just absolutely insanity. That takes the cake. Oh, why haven't we got face masks on in Australia? Oh, because Australians are too dumb to know how to put them on and off properly. That's what he's saying. And Carly, the girl that sends me weird messages and complains about what I say and thinks face masks are as good as tissue paper or toilet paper, she said. And well, she's a scientist, by the way, from Griffith University, so she's obviously got very high qualifications. And if she's a scientist, why isn't she busy being a scientist and trying to cure this thing rather than harassing me on the internet for information that I'm just trying to help Australia with? So Carly said that you know, they're second grade masks in China, and simple as that, and she thinks they're more dangerous than they're worth. Well, Carly, the Australian government has ordered and received 30 million face masks from China, and they're the same face masks that I've been sending home to my family and friends that were confiscated by the Australian government, seized and put in their own stockpiles just to give out at a later date and try to look good. But anyway, if you don't think they're sufficient, you probably shouldn't wear one and put your own life at risk. It really doesn't concern me, but you know, I'm warning you that it's probably a great idea to wear one because it's the only way that we've stopped it in China, and they're the same as the ones we've been wearing in China. And this city's open for business now. We had 3,000 deaths and 80,000 people in hospital. And now we're walking around shopping again and doing what life's usually about, except we have to take extra precautions. Simple. Yeah, and for the Americans that still seriously doubt what I have to say, well, the American government evacuated everyone from Wuhan, 800 folks, a few plane loads, including their embassy, by late January, around the 20th of January, they evacuated every American and still played it down in their own country. They took all those people home, didn't isolate them, and let them go on their own ways. And yeah, that's a fact. I was here. I know when the Americans left because I was waiting for the Australians to do something about us. So I'll chuck in a few little clips that I found on their social media websites over here today. Some regarding America and a few in India. And yeah, well, we don't hear many of them, but they're still getting around.
Why am I not wearing a face mask now? Okay, there are a couple of reasons. One of them is that part of in fact, the major reason to wear a face mask is to protect you from infecting you. I had my test yesterday and it's negative.
Good.
Okay.
That's a very good answer. All right, I think that really could be it. That was I love that answer, especially on the face mask. I thought it was very good.
The First Lady has been tweeting encouraging people to wear face masks.
That's good. Would you like me to wear one right now and answering your question? That would be a little awkward, I guess. But no, I mean, I would wear one if I thought it was important. She likes the idea of wearing it. Yeah, she does. A lot of people do. Again, it's a recommendation, and I understand that recommendation, and I'm okay with it.
You can make a face covering out of an old t-shirt. Fold it to the middle from the bottom, fold it to the middle from the top, and then 2 rubber bands. One on one side and one on the other side. Then you fold either side to the middle, and you have yourself cloth face covering.
But this is all that an N95 mask. It is unbelievable to me that in New York State, in the United States of America, we can't make these materials, and that we are all shopping China to try to get these materials, and we're all competing against.
I cannot believe for a second, in a time of crisis, that President Trump would even think about banning key medical supplies to Canada. One of the great lessons in humanity is that in a time of crisis, you don't stop being human.
The truth is, and New Yorkers and all Americans deserve the blunt truth, it's only getting worse. And in fact, April and May are going to be a lot worse. If the president doesn't act, people will die who could have lived otherwise.
The president made patently false assertions. In fact, he was more concerned about what was happening on the stock market than he seemed to be concerned about American public health. And that's shameful, and you can't cover that up.
Yeah, so here's a little fun fact for you. On the 3rd of January in 2020, this year, China released the information to the World Health Organization, WHO, and the American government and other governments throughout the world, which would have included Australia, of course, regarding this virus and the implications of it. So every chief medical officer in each of those countries would have been well informed and known all about what was going on in China from the 3rd of January at the latest. I left Australia on the 14th of January, and there was nothing on the websites, on the travel websites stating this. They knew I was going to Wuhan. They knew Wuhan was in trouble, and yet nobody stopped me leaving Australia. Yeah, the Smart Traveller website had nothing on it. It was actually down for a few days before I left, and the Australian government, of course, was on holidays at the time, and we had bushfires, so they probably didn't really pay much attention to it. However, Brendan Murphy has known about this since the 3rd of January, so it's taken Australia, and it took Australia a long time to take this seriously and do anything about it. And same as America, they knew about it from that date. So yeah, people keep pointing the finger at China. China had 2 weeks knowledge of this prior to that, and where they had to get their facts straight and work out what was going on before they did report it to the world. So they acted very, very quickly as opposed to every other government in the world.
It reminds me of the very first broadcast I made in 1940, helped by my sister. We as children spoke from here at Windsor to children who had been evacuated from their homes and sent away for their own safety. Today, once again, many will feel a painful sense of separation from their loved ones. While we have faced challenges before, this one is different. This time we join with all nations across the globe in a common endeavor. We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again. But for now, I send my thanks and warmest good wishes to you all.
So anyway, folks, that's about all I got to say today, and talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night, stay safe, stay healthy.